doing all right. And let's get this going. It's time to possibly beat this. Good, me? I'm doing fantastic. Possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed a crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case. I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You what? Bullshit. Order! Well, it would seem we're finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial. Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. Oh man. Witness testimony. The moment of the shooting. While those ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shot himself in the storeroom. I could see through the peephole in the door, though. The accused, in a black coat, shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Wait! Excuse me? Good gracious! This is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger. Bullshit. Order! It was my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. Bullshit. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood splattered over the accused's coat. Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, a German scientist has discovered a technique to identify human blood. So here's the true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There is nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Ideas are of no use to us here. In science as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used. With your lordship's permission, we could shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Runo. Why not? Well, we know, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. If they test it with their chemicals... Oh, help. You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. That stain is from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by Mr. McGildy, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution. Overruled. Lord Von Zeeks, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be... Counsel! Yes, my lord. Your cross-examination! Of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, if I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. I like how they're like, oh, by the way, what wasn't available to you is now available to you, but goddamn bitch. Mr. Winbank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Ash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all me life. Yeah, we're just your regular mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence, says the pair who carry a gun. Don't you know? They just now learned as while the trial's going. True. What do you mean when you say we're near the entrance of the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. And Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1. So I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to help me little bruv, but the old geezer chucked me over the bloomin' counter. So I pulled out my gun on the old fella, and that soon made him scarper. A pair of you setting upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you. Sorry, Gov. Hold it! You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes. Though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was exactly that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. Okay, the Sim, do you care if it's an occult or do you want it just to be normal? It can be a werewolf, I don't care. I don't care what it is there, Scotticus. And hey there, Scotticus, how's Scotticus doing? So I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. Didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Winbank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home. When I pulled me gun on him, he tried to shove me out of the way. And then he scarpered through that door out back. At which point, what did you do? I pursued the man. Okay. Hold it! You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this people in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom door is a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening about a head height that lets you see what's what in there from the outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. And what about the you burgling brothers? Did you see what went on through this peephole as well? Not likely, Gov. Didn't see nothing of the sort, Gov. I doubt these two buffoons were even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Windibank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there. The defendant? Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man. And then, what did you see next? How many times... Bullshit. Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Windibank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. Ah, but no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Windibank's gun grazed my arm. And yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection!
But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry, you must consider the events in order. At first, I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then, all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back. A chilling image, I must say. We literally established that he could have been shot in the back from the store earlier. Judge, pay attention, buddy. I saw the blood spatter all over that wretched girl.
Hold it!
Bullshit. All over her. Yes, through the people. I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now. What with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, the garment is solely with the victim's blood. Well, is it? It is solely with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Windibank's, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when McGilden stabbed them 2 months ago. So annoying. If they'd only accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. But they won't, so unfortunately we can't use that as evidence to support our case. Bother. Judges are so clueless in these games, right? Alright. We're done. The judge is like... He's just like a casual observer, man. Oh shit, I didn't... Okay, really quickly, I want to load.
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? So how did she grab the other gun and then collapse? That's right, after the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over. Over where exactly? In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor on my side of the door. Think how stupid that... I mean, why think? That's what the jurors are for, exactly! But why on earth would she do such a thing? I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about leaving it there, in case any more tragedies took place. So, let me get this straight. There's a third gun that she shot the guy in the back with. And she threw it outside. So, all 3 guns are outside the storeroom for whatever reason. Okay. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime. Yes, it was yours truly. I left the clear up to my lackeys and left. Clear up? We'd made a bit of a mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistle and Flute here told us to tidy up. Oh man, good aim. Wait, who was holding the peephole open exactly? He thinks he's our bloomin' mum sometimes. I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bull at a gate, aren't you?
Excuse me.
Gentlemen. Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be my line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin. Blimey, this D's a bit of an hooligan, ain't he? What was going on just now? You saw him. He grabbed me whistle. Why the blazes, he said. Didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down to the station? And why didn't you? 'Cause we didn't know nothing about it. Or that flaming people in the door. Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are you? Gor blimey, see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this D gives me the willies. That was strange. Inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Gregsy at all. He's normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. My lord! Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Explain yourself, officer. I have the results of the test that was ordered by my lord. Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat. Oh no. Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel. No, my lord. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of splattering following a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness me. Bitch. See? What did I tell you?
Objection.
No. The blood on the coat is not Mr. Windibanks. What on earth makes you say that, counsel? The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited in Mr. Windibanks, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on the overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case.
Objection.
Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nepalese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago, in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for Mr. McGilded's innocence? And yet now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer. Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country. But that was... I call it a petty disgrace, treachery, that's what it is. How how to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not. Even a stereoscope couldn't help to answer that problem, Pop Out. It can't be done. But, we used Mr. Sholmes especially. Mr. Sholmes is a detective, not a chemist. Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out pierogi to starving boy, and he ran away crying. Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom, no weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish. Bullshit, you bitch. How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir? As the witness said, the accused's coat was splattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known that fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. No, it isn't, bitch! My lord! Been a long battle, this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please, Mr. Foreman. As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now! Sir! Oh,
Guilty.
God. Here we go again.
Guilty.
Summation examination time, bitch.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Well, it would appear the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached a unanimous verdict. The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt. He's literally bleeding from the arm! Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally unsuccessful. I don't believe it. After I've come so far, how's it all unraveling on me so fast? How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Officer, you delivered a report now. That will be all. Thank you. It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ah! Oh my God. Mr. Sholmes? What is the meaning of this? Order! What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in the hospital. As well I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand? Hurley, it's really you! You're awake at last! Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me. In what manner, sir? I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind to spare us the time? What do you say to this, Lord Von Zieks? This trial has taken many hours of the court's time. Having spent so long already... Exactly! Having spent so long already, we don't want to go waste any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Yeah! Very well then, counsel. You have 5 minutes. My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright? I'm all wrong. Sorry. I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make the discussion as short as possible. Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Ah, well, that concoction of mine was really just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right? Modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. And I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender furoshiki wrapping? A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand, and that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you are, won't want to do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those are the dear lady's instructions. Leaving present from Susato-san. Whatever could it be? What is this? Oh, it's a machine I made. Ah. Look, I used this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat Thesampleman. It can make a cat flap and for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. What's Susie up to? Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Windibanks in pursuit of the thieves? Miss Susato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Susato-san used this cat Thesampleman that night. But why? It's been entered into the courtroom. Your 5 minutes is over. Okay. The cat Thesampleman. We need to investigate. Whew, these vicious teeth look like they could rip through almost anything. They're good, aren't they? They're made of special alloy developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second so it can get through any kind of door in no time at all. And what are the two parts at the top there? Ah, those are for attaching hinges to the section of door that gets cut out. Right, of course. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest doors. Sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's for, but feels like the reality of the cat Thesampleman is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. Wakahai is so adorable. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons. Okay. A little concerning. Alright. We got the cat flap-a-mat. We're out of time already? I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. Further cross-examination.
Objection!
The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now.
Objection!
The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue the one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. So nobody can say anything then. If Bruno asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd! I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request a continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it. If, following that, the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further. My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Thud. Oh God! Mr. Sholmes! And now he's collapsed. To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fever. Either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling. Imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man while he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. Won't let Mr. Sholmes down or Iris. Okay, here we go. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Very well then. Under the terms I've outlined, you may resume cross-examination. Alright.
Objection!
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, Counsel? Oh, it's my cat Flappleman, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. It can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners. I'm sure we can all work out that for ourselves. But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windenbank had taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous! What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said that as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes, how could you? What? Counsel, kindly say what you mean. Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through! What? No!
Objection!
This is a farce! Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was? Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant using this device. Your assistant tampered with a crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions? This is a most serious act of vandalism, for which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes I had left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes, just like his arm. Riddled with, explain yourself, counsel. The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claimed to have seen. Arrgh! In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Ah! Order! Is there any credence in this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly! This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? Oh yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. That's absurd! I don't believe it for a second. I had a feeling you'd say that. What? Waggy? Hooey! Come, time for dinner! Well? Huh? Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey. Oh my god. That was hilarious. I'm not done yet. Don't worry. This doesn't mean the people in the storeroom and door at Windibanks was made by your machine. There's no way you can prove that it was. No, but it's easy. What? The cat flaps my Thesampleman creates are all of a fixed size, and the dimensions of the people at Windibanks are exact match. Hee. Old Silky's lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. Now it's my learned students' friends' turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yes, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let's assume the people has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the people cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Von Zieks? It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the people was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the people was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. Indeed, that is so, Lord Von Zieks. Well, counsel, don't give up now, Runo. This is time to create your own opening and force your way through. Yep, time to barge through this shit like freaking the Kool-Aid Man. I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Susato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the people in the door of Windibank's storeroom was created after the event and not before. It's gotta be the manuscript, right?
Take that!
Defense believes.
Objection!
Okay. It's right here. There's the people. There it is, not there.
Take that! Objection!
Oh, wrong. Wrong picture. What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again. My judicial assistant, Miss Susana Mikitoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof. Necessary proof is this photographic print? Counsel? This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole of any description. Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claimed to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Grr. Ah! He's Waggy, the new suspect, true. Waggy had a gun in his mouth and shot everybody. I'm satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious. That's not the only thing we know beyond all. We now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with a crime scene. But more importantly, good lord, there's more, Lord Von Zeeks? The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury, but that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. I don't believe this. But they're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris, you know what they say. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Runo? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witness's statements. The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right. The victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the people in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously, Has the cat got your tongue, witness? The people in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the 2 burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windibanks constantly, carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course, the place is chock full of pawned articles. My lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock and shifts so that we can get through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the people in the door. How on earth is that possible? Could I have a word, please, Lord Von Zeeks? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you, permission denied. Oh? It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon? You shouldn't have known about the existence of that people. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you've just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. In fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that it could be. Who gave the witness details of the crime? It's Gregson. It's gotta be Gregson. He's been acting the most... He's been acting really weird.
Take that!
The truth is, it could have only been you, Inspector Gregson. Me?
Objection!
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today. Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, while the police executed a subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station. Until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. Are you suggesting that until such time he was summoned? Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the people. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position. That he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin? Exactly. The only person with knowledge of the investigation that I had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that? Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery. Which means, the first time these two laid eyes on each other was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand, and where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. Oh, I've just remembered something, Bruno. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying. Oh yes, now that you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGilded's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during that testimony. Remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and Inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then. You little toe rag! You're making all this up! I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke? Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, Consul? I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the people of the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. Oh God, this is getting good! Well,
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations in this Nepalese student's specialty. I don't do that. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? Court must see proof of this alleged deal. It's gotta be really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon. And logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. Bruno, do you think it could be? Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal? It's either the music box or the...
Take that!
Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case? What? Are you getting at now, Sunshine? Is it possible that this other top secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? Classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice? How the bleeding Nora could you? We discovered during the course of this trial, the music box deposited at Windibanks by Magnus McGilded, a special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded on that pair of discs that were in Mr. McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second disc containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case. You little, my chips! My fish and chips! Order! On the day of the incident, when you met at Windibanks, you said this. I'll be taking whatever it is of McGilda's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilda has to be taken in as evidence now. Scotland Yard already knew at the time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGilda was involved in the stealing of government secrets. My orders were, recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew it contained highly confidential information. Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all. Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness? To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony? There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the peephole. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. No, God!
Objection!
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How could you possibly make a claim like that? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What? What's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly, he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious. Then you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person?
Yes!
The defense demands that the inspector be searched at once. Definitely. They could have only struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before, and Gregson hasn't moved from the witness stand since. My lord, please, order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Well, Inspector? This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me in my profession quite enough. However, if it'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search. What? He's going to agree to it? Presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. You made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. That sounds serious. Indeed, to have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook. You're just threatening Runo because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. Yes, my lord? Do you still persist? Defense formally demands a search be conducted. Well, don't say you weren't warned, but your typical Nephnese stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough.
Objection!
The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, Sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Runo's doing what you all told him to do, and having the courage of his convictions. So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's a British way. Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words. You what? Now don't be hasty, my lord. If I'm not mistaken about things I've seen in the court today, fairly sure that I know who has the disc at the moment. There's only one person can be. Okay.
Take that!
Good grief.
Objection!
Does not understand.
Take that!
Of my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin. Oh, I never. Blimey, me! Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Hold it!
Please, my lord. Inspector, Scotland Yard has to object to this search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and defense have the authority to object. But Lord Von Zeeks, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Bailiff, carry out the search. Now, hold on a mo. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out. Ah, here, my lord. In the witness's pocket, I found this. Good lord, that's another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it, nothing. That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? It's getting crazy. I love it. Order! Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself? Gordon Flamin' Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest God. Consul, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness And this detective know? Without question, my lord. And for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in his trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, in your jacket pocket, admit to nothing of the sort. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, he did and all. Thought me noggin was going to fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as a brother, I was. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. You just suddenly turned and grabbed me, whistled like that, and started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention a third gun when we got you down to the station? That's what he said. Yelled it right down my ear hole, he did. My head's still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Well, bless my wig! He hid it? But I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. And do it on the QT. Strictly hush hush. Hush hush. A top secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if the information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm operating under direct orders from the ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. Does this mean you only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him to slip the second disc into his pocket? So it's all a pretense? Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon, are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Admit to it? Yours truly? Please. Mr. Graydon, clearly our Eastern visitor has some uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed the disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the people? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder? Leaking government secrets? Striking a deal with the detective? All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of this is about. You... What? Skulkin's got Waluigi bad luck. Wah, indeed. Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions. What the hell? This is quite conjuring indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for the final leanings. Well now, as a fellow servant of the Queen Country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Are you stupid or something? Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Oh my god, these people are brain dead. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really. Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of vitals. Stop. Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say. I don't believe it. These 6 jurors they're going to believe Gregson. If they declare their decision now, is Ginny going to be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. I think it's time I impose on the... It all comes down to this. It's gotta be Graydon, right? It's Graydon in this.
Take that!
Irrefutable proof, my lord, of the corrupt dealings that went on between these 2 men. Or perhaps... Actually... It might be... This piece of evidence thoroughly.
Take that!
Oh, okay. Irrefutable. All right. I don't get. I low-key regret making him a werewolf because I've been listening to him. How 15 seconds for the past 20 minutes. Oh dear. Howl every 15 seconds for the past 20 minutes, right? Yeah, I feel that. I've made quite a bit of werewolves. Damn. What would make him... deserve an explode. Okay. Well, that wasn't just house constantly and create sim, yeah. I think Gregson's. All right, I'm gonna hit the restroom. I'll be right back. BRB? Heck yeah, they're GFX. It's gotta be Gregson, right? Hmm. Hmm. If you refuse to acknowledge that you did, then you leave us no choice but thoroughly. It's gotta be the music box. It's gotta be the music box, right? Is that Mr. McGilda's Peculiar Music Box console? Yes, with a disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, the disc console?
Hold it!
No, wait! I can't let you do that! Why not? Because it's got nothing to do with the case, that's why!
Objection!
Not true, Inspector. Eh? The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were a part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code compromises two distinct tones. The defense believes the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. Now we have a chance to confirm that theory. For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. If you go lend the whole courtroom here confidential information like that, it's treason. Then do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engage in unlawful dealings with the witness? You're mad! If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot!
Objection!
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, all because by fair means or foul you're determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. Uh-oh. My lord, if you please, the court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, Von Zeeks. For Pete's sake, stop him.
Objection!
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul. Very well. The defense's stance here is that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen to the music box set in operation once more. Okay, let's save. Holy shit. Here we go. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code. All right, I admit it. Whatever you want. But for the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the people in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector? I did. Stop! What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after recess, and we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. or information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that I should have put him in the clear. Just in time. Back just in time? Nice! The people in the storeroom door and the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. I did. But then it turned out the people had been made that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Raiden, what do you have to say for yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction on a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question, and you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windabank. You! Traitor! Oh God, he's gonna kill him! Bailiff! Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once! That's it then. It's all over. I despised my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. So I set about studying, to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. You eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But then you decided to sell government secrets. Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out, with more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Oh no, Greggy Poo, indeed! Then one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. You're a fiend with a queer talent, you are. I've money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings, how easy it is to succumb. But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable, by using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right, he was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. Morning! Hey there, Bjorn. How's Bjorn doing tonight? Imagine his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left slums 10 years earlier. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh? He was a different man to to the one in my memory, a thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him, never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure they wouldn't help me if I told them the real reason. So I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. Music box discs, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I've brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. God damn. 5-stream streak? Good to hear there, Yarn. But 5-stream streak! Hype! Hype, hype. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft. That's how I had made him make the two discs, thereby splitting the information in two. We're taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilda in two separate transactions. First involved the first of the two discs of the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilda for 10 guineas. Then, on receipt of the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas. So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago was the second part of the deal, the exchange of the second disc. Yes, I sold the man information that way a number of times already, but it seems he became reluctant to part with his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon, for why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilda, not yourself? When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilda, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. How am I doing? I'm doing fantastic. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. And when he did, he said to me, "Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore." That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilda. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc I'd asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilda really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name to exact revenge. Revenge? As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine, McGilda brought all of his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways to crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. And when I walked into Hornet's Nest, completely unaware of the sinister background to it all, I made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilda by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilda himself had shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything to his favor in this courtroom to ensure that I walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGilda's death that day was caused by this man? Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. So that policeman who came to tell McGilda could examine the omnibus again. Oh my god. That's right, an imposter hired by me. McGilda used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the omnibus with all manner of fake evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilda inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. Holy shit! An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. A spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded. Ah, yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for ye, young man. What's this? Winnebank's pawnbrokery. Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. Put a jewel in the pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. I've never heard of pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is an extremely secure vault. Oh geez. God damn! So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the tickets to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now, that when we first met you at Winnebank's that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for? From the trial. That pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilded's pawns, and he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline. He was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to Winnebank's to redeem the articles. Unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat and the 1 disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the 2nd disc inside was missing, because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved. Inspector? You've recovered fast? My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering the fellow's possessions, examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night, with the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. When Ash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box I sold to McGilded on the shelves of the forfeited articles. The second disc was inside? Yes, I slipped it in my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. A gunshot rang out in the shop. I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. Man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. Unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. A sorry, sorry tale. All took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Windibanks on that wretched night. So are you still guilty, jurors? You stupid bitches? Earlier, you called McGilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. What tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilded. Yes, I think I have. Poor Windibank, all this fool's fault, indeed. LMFAO, right? Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon? He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windibank and the stealing of government secrets. Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself. Yes, my lord, of course. It transpires that you are complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains, whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Yeah? It is time for final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Garadeb Squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Ha! That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Runo, you finally managed to do it. Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world. Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet. Eh? What? What are you looking at me like that for? Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider, Eh? 2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? In relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Windibank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilda's property, it seems. Eh? He's done? Should I give him skills? Whatever you want to do there, Scotticus. Whatever you want to do there, Scotticus. I never done nothing of the sort. Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilda's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. And just when I was getting excited for throwing a party for Ginny this evening, turning our attention to the defense, determining that when played together, the music box contained a message in Morse code was, well, it's certainly a most unexpected revelation, counsel. Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast to demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Very sorry about that. It was the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit to what he'd done, so. On that point, isn't that it's about the sounds produced by a music box before. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying, madame? Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that when the world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. Goodness, madame. An unhealthy level of obsession one feels. But I must say that, in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? My lord, the defense would like to listen to Music Box again. Are you off your nut? How many times do I have to tell you those discs contain ministerial secrets, sunshine? This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of government communications. You know McGilda conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies. Secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that the man is admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. But it's really going to bother me. Uh-oh. Miss Lestrade. Yeah? Me, lord? That which you have seen today here in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalog of depravity, an appalling experience to befall any child. Come on, it ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums. I beg your pardon? If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. But look, I reckon I've worked something out today. The world ain't fair, but if you want it to change, you've got to start at home. You got to change how you are yourself. Well, that's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade never gracing my courtroom with her presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windibank, proprietor of a pawnbrokery business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty. Confetti time! Woo! Hell yeah. That is all. Court is adjourned. On a personal note, I must say you surprised me, my Far Eastern friend. Oh? Despite being on Nepalese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did. When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nepalese, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man I once knew and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today, about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask, and one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Alright, then I'll wait for that day if I must. Ooh! Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from the service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned Nepalese fellow, until we meet again. Oh dear. Are you threatening me? He's threatening me, isn't he? The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappear to? Huh? Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. Thanks, man. So how much is the fine for littering in the courtroom? I lost count of the amount of glass and wine bottles on the floor. Exactly. And the cleaning bill for all that wine on the carpet. Exactly. No one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean, properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently, too. Trusting someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. When your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded. He was scared of being stabbed. Stab him immediately. Oh, God. There's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in! But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. So when are we done tell Iris that her dad's dead, by the way? This is the way I see it, Rinsuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as the faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption. But what the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? That voice! It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruto. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along. I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people with your incessant babbling! Mr. Sholmes? Yes, it was me all along, you see? Oh my god, Sholmes, what is the matter with you, Sholmes? I'd assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh? I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruto. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you. Oh, thank you? Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? While you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives. I mean, not wrong. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but well, have a feel. Oh my god, he's like, take my hand, please! I'll take your hand there, Sholmes. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? And in some way, I suppose congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he was working on winds up dead anyway. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. Exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilda, in fact. But of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like I'm upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah, him upstairs. Knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some coves like that bog trotter what are rotten to the core. At the end of the day, I'm him upstairs to make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, I ain't like that McGilded of the world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? A trait in which, in you, which is to be admired, Miss Lestrade. Oi, just give it a rest, alright. As I was saying, congratulations are in order. News of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Hurley. How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But wait, until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in the room dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Oh my god, he's calling me stupid. That's not very nice. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm going to be nowhere for a while. You're the judge's patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offenses. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking the box driver's stuff, what it was in his lug, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But diving ain't an offense. It's a job, isn't it? I don't think so. Still, it has got me thinking of all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I could make a change. I'm gonna do something for all them lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. That's a wonderful idea, Ginny. I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade. The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Right. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes, goodbye, Gina, and good luck. Odo? Yes? Oh god. Oh god, she's gonna shoot me! Ah! What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh? Oh yes! It's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well... Thanks, Odo. Thank you for everything and what you've done, for believing in me. Aw. Shooting the thank? Exactly. You got popped in the face. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Pop a cap in his face. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well, quite the indomitable pick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition. His trial is all over the front page. Pickpockets innocent and proven. Isn't it wonderful? You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh no, how silly of me. Get popped like Pop Windabank did, indeed. But anyways, would you like to see the good news or the bad news? Not again. Well, what do you say, Runo? Hurley? As usual, I think I'd like to get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. Rain has finally stopped. It was a record level rainfall, apparently. Well, that's good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's bad news? Huge storm has left the seas very choppy. Channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. But, there won't be a train surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't. Great detective does it again. Indeed he does. Rain sounds amazing after this 108 high today. Oh god. Oh god there, GF Rex. No thanks to 108. Thank you to rain, yes. It was supposed to rain today, but we didn't get any of that. Everything stayed off to my west, including the severe weather. There was a big tornado in Wisconsin today, up in Appleton. I happen to be aware of a number of rail transport directors' foibles. What? Merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria! 18th of April, 5:32 a.m. Port of Dover, Quayside. That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Miss Susato? Where are you? Over there, look. Looks like she's reading something.
Hold it!
Miss Susato, wait, what are you doing? Mr. Naruhodo? What are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after a trial, I mean. We heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you were about to throw into the sea was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now, so I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to law? You, Susato-san? Would I be correct in assuming it's because of the peephole, Miss Susato? I deliberately altered the scene of a crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. Ooh, sneaky. Indeed, you didn't notice it for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat Flap-O-Mat, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? And I rather forgot about it, till I found myself in Mr. Winbank's shop with it later that night. I see. And then... Ah, Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think that the doors started to play on my mind. Storeroom door, do you mean? Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, a little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So you used the cat Thesampleman to make the people in the door. As captured in a photographic print of the shop by one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was of the first importance at that point. Precisely when the people was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier, the trial of Magnus McGilded. I thought about how much he had manipulated evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windibank. Even though I was sure she never would have done such a thing. We were worried that a true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have had to be a way to see beyond the door. Ah. For which, a people would be the very thing. Only the people I made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And criminal knew that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But a possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the people to anyone, not even to the police. I know, and I knew it at the time I was doing it was wrong, a criminal offense even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner, with no other possible means of escape. The truth about the people could save him. That was my plan. She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? Dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Ah. Damn! You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to knowingly tamper with a crime scene. So Miss Susato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake and Miss Lestrade's. Miss Susato? The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh? I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied on the witness stand, using that people as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the people inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that he would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you saved me too, from my regrets. Damn. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music box contained secret message, Mr. Naruhodo, what a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator, and she said the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in a cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher, I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. What? Asogi? What? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Iris, what did you just say? I said asogi? Does that word mean something to you? Means something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. Whatever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see, there's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying? That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha Pingram, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code, the message says asogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? It's Susato. Do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Of course she did! Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. Then I recommend, my dear madame, that you focus your efforts on the English version. Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please. Hey there, Astro Dude. Of course. But what can this possibly mean? Whatever is in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes has made the color drain from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first is Kei Asogi, Kazuma Asogi, Kazuma Asogi. Why isn't his name on that disc? A Shin? Shin, I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gregson. Gregson? Ah, it would seem Tobias Gregson is third man on the list. What's his name doing in a secret government communication as well? The last name... What's the matter, Miss Susato? It's just so strange. So unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. Last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. Ooh, it's getting crazy. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some sort between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So Daddy could be in Japan then? Where Susie and Runo come from? Oh, well... no. It's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson. There must be a lot of J's among them. Visiting oh no, this is where we're gonna break her heart, isn't it? Oh no. This is where we're going to reveal this. Oh no, oh god. But we can't really tell. We just can't. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windenbank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie. We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato. Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best. Miss Susato, I had hoped to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. She's on a Susato takedown my ass, isn't she? I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Ah, oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? You remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Burya when I was dragged out from the wardrobe still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown. You know very well what I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I've somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. The Susato. My instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
Aw. Oh yeah. Game's fantastic. 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this.
On my side.
I enjoyed the hell out of this game. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes has some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh? It caused such a commotion on the line, all the other trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never really made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato, you love defending yourself in court. Huh? 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 It's alright. I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See? Oh my god. Mr. Sholmes? Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Oh yes, I love Bruno's words. I just know the one he'll use here. Then I really must say...
Objection!
Man, oh man. What a game. What a game there, guys. I very much enjoyed that game very much. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived from Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot. Though it transpired, I ordered them. So I advertised them for sale with used by Sholmes to solve an important case. And I might have earned consulting detective work pays a pins by comparison. Oh my god. You magnificent bastard. Ah, I haven't slept a wink. As manuscript is due tomorrow now. When I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement for some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfast. Oh my god. What a game, though. I had a blast playing this game. Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly. Rarely do Koban coins hide under rare stakes themselves. Damn. I loved every minute of this game. This game was a fun roller coaster of a ride. I'm sad it's over. Hosonaga. I miss this man. Where are you, bitch? Where are you? But I very much enjoyed this. I've done nothing wrong. I just give Wagahai's offspring refuge. A man brings some kins on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal? It's not fair. Oh my god. Yo, that was so funny. Good lord. What a gold standard for policing in the new age. I dream of a world governed by the tenets of order and discipline. So my assumptions about you were wrong, my friend. I thought you were gonna be evil. You look evil, but he wasn't evil. Tomohiko. What an amazing game. I had so much fun playing this game. I loved every minute of whatever I say that one line she wrote now. I get a standing ovation. Want to hear it? Humph. Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Glug, glug, glug. Oh, man. Puts me to shame. My god. But yeah, I had an amazingly fun time playing this game. This game is fantastic. Highly recommend. if you want to get some of these. It's of course on physical media, which I can play at all times now on my Switch 2. Garadab, you crazy bastard. But yeah, this game, a fantastic ride. It was a good game all the way through. I had a good time playing it. My Rolly is back on the beat again, all thanks to the Reaper. There's nothing I enjoy more these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. A better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners, their job happenings, and my lovely wife. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. I had a good time with this game. What a fun game. Looks like I'm gonna be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting when you get into them. Damn. I kind of like what they're doing after the game is done, and they're telling you, hey, this is what happened to this character. This is what happened to this character. Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets? Please. Give cover, bruv. This ain't the Ash we used to know. We got time in here to plan the comeback of Milverton and Skulkin's milk run. The Three Musquetsits? Milk in the neighborhood for all it's worth. Oh my god. God damn. What a game, though. We're gonna keep going through these credits because obviously I like. This past 6 months has been a lifetime, has been a time I shall remember. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is about. Naruhodo-san, I promise, your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well. Damn. And there we go. Oh, Waggy, there you are. Wagahai. Leaping. Man, oh man. Good lord. Hell yeah. Let's keep it going. But like legitimately, I had a fun time with all this. I had a fun time playing this game. I liked how the cases interconnected. Like, it was a very good time. Legitimately. But what we'll be playing probably after this game, we're gonna jump onto a little Balatro for a little bit. And we'll play a little Balatro till like 8:45, so that's probably about 50 minutes of that. Probably do like a deck or two. Okay. Sure. Great Ace Attorney Adventures, Finn.